الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني يحببكم الله ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من والده وولده والناس أجمعين أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك من زانت به العصور. All praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has blessed us with countless blessings and given us another opportunity to turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every breath that we take is an opportunity for us to turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgiving. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts gratitude. So we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing us the opportunity. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst His beloved slaves. And also, we thank the organizers who have arranged this program. Man lam yashkur an-nas lam yashkur Allah, or kama qal. We learn, our deen teaches us that we must thank people as well. We must be grateful to people as well. And the greatest favor you can do to anyone is bringing them close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no ni'mah, there's no blessing, there's no bounty greater than this iman. We will only realize this fully when the soul leaves the body. That is the time when a person will realize that, Alhamdulillah, what I had was the greatest. When a person goes to Jannah and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the person that I will never be displeased with you, this is when it will be overjoyed. When a person who disbelieved and sees the punishment and makes this wish, Ya laytani kuntu turaba, that's when we realize, Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us iman. So we thank the organizers that they have arranged a program that brings us close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the closer we are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more blessings we will attain in this world and the hereafter. We make dua for the organizers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them the best reward. And also request to everyone that we must support these organizations at whatever level we can. Our deen is so beautiful. It's less work but full pay, or no work and full pay also. For example, if a person is not able to give full time, just like these organizers have done, given their life and full time they are giving for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, maybe I'm not able to, but I can do part-time, or maybe I can help through my talent, or maybe I can help through my finance, maybe I can help through dua, maybe I can just be with them. In any form, I am maybe no effort or some effort, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of His mercy, out of His greatness, out of His generosity, He gives the full reward. So request to everyone in any form, whatever it may be, however it may be, we must be part of these organizations and support them. As we know that today's topic of discussion is life after Ramadan. The blessed month of Ramadan came and is about to leave us. And this is how life has been. Right? We were young, we become old, time flies, right? A person thinks back, thinks something happened a few years back, and a person is like, subhanAllah, it feels like it happened yesterday. Time passes on. It doesn't wait for anyone. We must utilize this time. The time that's lost will never come back. However, whatever we have left, we have to make the best out of it. So today's topic is to discuss and learn how can we continue this spiritual environment after the blessed month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, this month of Ramadan gave us the opportunity to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We were able to get nearness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, connect ourselves with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in various ways: fasting, reciting the Quran, salat, dua, adhkar, staying silent, spending more time in ibadah, worship. So Alhamdulillah gave us that opportunity. The question is, how can we continue this after the month of Ramadan? So inshallah, we'll discuss 4 points. And if anyone wants, or I would actually request also and recommend that we should try to write. We should make points so that we can remember later. We can go back on these points and review them. It's always helpful. It's easier to remember if it's written. Right? If a person writes something, al-kitabatu qaydun, it's like it's imprisoning it. It can run away. So if we can, inshallah, we can make notes, just bullet points, and inshallah we'll just discuss 4 things today. So the first thing is that the ulama, they tell us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala principally created 3 types of creation. Of course, many, but looking at the principle. Number 1 is the angels. Angels are such that ulama, they say that they have the intellect, they have no desire. La ya'sun Allah ma amarahum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Tahrim, verse number 6. They do not disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second creation is the animal kingdom, about whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that they're made for the benefit of mankind. Right? وَلَأَنْعَامَ خَلَقَهَا لَكُمْ فِيهَا دِفْءٌ وَمَنَافِعُ وَمِنْهَا تَأْكُلُونَ. Surah Nahl, verse number 5. That these are made for our benefit. We take various benefits from these. And the third one is the insan and jinn. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about about jinn and insan together. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Another place Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about insan mentions, إِنَّا هَدَيْنَهُ السَّبِيلَ إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. Surah Al-Dahr, verse number 3. So insan and the animal kingdom and the angels. What's the difference? Angels, intellect, no desire. Animals, only desires, no intellect. They've been created for the benefit of mankind. They have only desires. Insan has both. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them intellect and then the desire both. If they choose intellect over desire, subhanalladhi asra bi'abdihi, they become more afdal, more virtuous than angels. If they were to choose desire over intellect, أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ, they are worse than animal. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in principle, 3 creations: angels, the animal kingdom, and then the insan. Insan and jinn, they've been created for the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَالتَّقْوَاهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given this insan, this nafs, in which has been inspired evil and good both. Evil and good both has been inspired. In other words, this nafs is such, it will be inclined towards good and it will be inclined towards evil as well. However, the nature of nafs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَلَا تَتَّبِعِ الْهَوَىٰ فَيُضِلَّكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Surah Sad, verse 26. Do not follow this hawa. Do not follow your desire. Why? Because it will misguide you. It will take you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, the nature of this nafs is to turn a person away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no other purpose. From this, we understand that the true enemy of insan is actually its nafs. A question might come that, wait, we heard shaitan is there. Shaitan is a whisper. However, ulama, they tell us shaitan will give a bayan. They just say it's not really a bayan, but shaitan will speak on the day of judgment and will make statement. And one of the things he will say is what? That I just called you. I had no power. I had no sultan, authority over you, right? I only called you. You respond to my call. And then he will say, فَلَا تَلُومُونِي وَلُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. So Ibrahim, verse 22, that don't blame me, blame yourself. So our ulama, they tell us, this shows the shaitan is not really doing much. It's just calling from far. Hey, go listen to the nafs. In other words, shaitan is calling from far and telling us, go, there's a hole, jump in that hole. There's fire, go jump in that fire, right? So if imagine for a second, if I tell someone there's a hole, jump in that hole, and you do, who's to blame? If there's fire and I tell you there's fire, jump in the fire, and you do, who's to blame? So similarly, ulama, they say, na shaitan is nothing. Comes and screams from far. You say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, runs away. You do dhikr of Allah, is gone. But nafs stays inside. An enemy inside the house is more dangerous than the enemy outside the house. Not only that, ulama, they tell us, why did shaitan become shaitan? It was because of nafs. If it wasn't for the nafs, shaitan wouldn't be shaitan. Shaitan decided to follow hawa and disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Did not submit, because of which became shaitan. In other words, nafs is the reason of shaitan. So the real enemy that we have, that is always with us, that is inside us, that is a constant struggle that we have to face, is this nafs. And this nafs is such, it wants to be ilah. أَفَرَأَيْتَ مَنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَى. We've not seen the ones who have taken their nafs or their hawa as their ilah. And a ilah deserves to be obeyed and praised. All praises for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only, and obedience is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Submission is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. However, this nafs is in competition with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that no, I should be obeyed and I should be praised. That's why this constant feeling we get, that submission doesn't come. Why should I pray? I don't want to pray. Why? Because there's submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't want to fulfill the commands of Allah. Why? Because that's submission. Nafs doesn't want submission. Nafs wants that it's obeyed and it's praised. So when I do good, I want people to praise me. I want people to thank me. I want people to say, mashallah, subhanallah, beautiful, you're everything and you're something. Nafs feels good. Nafs enjoys it. It wants to be obeyed. It wants to be praised. However, this is only the only being that deserves obedience and deserves all praise is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the nafs is in competition. And if we don't recognize this enemy, then this enemy from inside us is going to eat us. It's a poison that's inside our body at all times. And until and unless we have submitted this nafs, we will not be able to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter how easy the command is or how apparently difficult the command is. No command is difficult, truly speaking, if the nafs is submitted. It becomes difficult because of the nafs. And the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made insan is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, insan gets inclined towards this, right? Just like, for example, when we have a place decorated, like subhanallah, look how beautiful it is. We like it. It's appealing to our eyes, right? It's contentment to the eyes. We feel good seeing something beautiful. Insan also loves following nafs. It wants to follow desires. And our ulama, they tell us, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us in a hadith that Jahannam has been surrounded with shahawat, what does that mean? Ulama, they tell us, this means that if you follow shahawat, the next step is Jahannam. Na'udhu billah min dhalik. And when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us to near fact that Jannah has been surrounded with difficulties, things that the nafs don't like, what does that mean? It means you do it, the next step is Jannah. So this nafs will not lead us to anywhere but hell. There's no other place but Jahannam. Imagine, ulama, they tell us that about shaitan, and these things are, we all have heard this. This is just a mudhakara, right? We all need constant reminder, constant, remind ourselves about this so we can save ourselves from the traps of nafs and shaitan. So we have heard this story from our ulama. They tell us that shaitan was a great abid, who worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much, was a great arif, so much so that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, get out of Jannah, he knew that Allah is merciful. Inna rahmati ghalabat adhab. He said, give me time. He knew Allah will give time. Then he knowledge in the sense that he's been there, tricking people from the day of creation, pretty much. It's been the day he decided to become shaitan till now. A lot of experience, right? It is not that he knows, because he's been deceiving from day one, which means it knows the Sharia of all the Anbiya alayhimus salam. It understands everyone, understands that nature has gone through the experience of change of norms and societies, then Sharia, it's been through it. So it has a lot of experience. So it has knowledge, it had ma'rifah, it had the abdiyat. But there was one thing he was missing. It was not a ashik of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, was not a true lover of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When somebody loves someone, they will submit themselves. So shaitan chose to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of which its mardud is rejected. So this is what nafs does. You can have knowledge, you can have ibadah, you can have ma'rifah, but when we are not ready to submit, it will not help us. Submission is the most important thing that we have to bring into our lives. Intellectually talking, intellectual gymnastic to prove Sharia and hikmat and wisdom, mashallah, it will help us to an extent. But truly, the nearness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come with submission. Without the submission, there is no achieving anything. So now the question comes, if this is an enemy so great, if this is how we are, what do we do? How do we save ourselves? How do we protect ourselves? So the ulama, they tell us that we have to do mujahada, and ulama, they mention about 4 types of mujahada. Out of these 4, our ulama, they tell us 2 are such that not recommended as much as before, other 2 are. Now, what are those 4 mujahadas? First one is eat less. When we eat less, the nafs becomes weak. And this is, of course, these mujahadas has been extracted from Quran and Hadith. When Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا, you do mujahada, strive, we will guide you. What does that mean, mujahada? So ulama, they take from Hadith, for example, when a person is young, he cannot get married, he must fast. So this tells us there is a sense of decreasing and weakening of the desires. So all of these have been taken from Quran and Sunnah. We will not go into the details of that. Our talk is supposed to be only 20 minutes. We've already lost 17 minutes. So eat less. So month of Ramadan already gives us by fasting. Number 2 is sleep less. When we stay for Taraweeh, we wake up in Sahri, right? Allah SWT mentioned about tahajjud, the most stepping on the nafs, right? So sleeping less would make the nafs weak. Then speechless, right? Talk less, right? Man samata naja min husn al-islam mari tarku ma la yani aw kama qala. All these, the less we speak, the less mistakes we make. The more we speak, ma nadimtu ala sukuti marratan walakin nadimtu ala kalami mirara, that I have never had to regret because of silence. However, because of speaking, I had to regret many times. So the less we speak, lies is because of speaking, making fun of someone, ghiba, backbiting, ghiba and mocking someone, maybe saying something someone, hurt someone. All of this is speech. Man samata naja. The less we talk, the better it is. And last one is interaction. This social interaction, always socializing. It's taken a very beautiful thing, but reality is the more we socialize with people, the more chances are we are forgetting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, we socialize with men of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-jalisul salih khairu min al-wahda. It is better to be a pious companion than being alone, no doubt. However, if that's not the case, how about we socialize with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How about we talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Today we feel ourselves become strangers. We have our phones and we're constantly checking what's my message on WhatsApp and social media. I mean, for me to put my phone away and sit down and me socializing with Allah, of course not socializing, but talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, pondering about what am I here for? What's going to happen? And what about grave? What about meeting Rasulullah? How would I face him? What about the Sirat? What about the Mizan? What about the Book of Deeds? What about seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What about all of those stages that are about to come? And that's going to be forever. I mean, this world, it's going to end eventually. Sooner or later, everything will finish. But that day, and the tests are not few, many tests, right? You got the grave. First is dying on Iman. Then the grave. Then raised and being raised, then going seeing Rasulullah for the Hawd, and then going through the Sirat, and then the Book of Deeds, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanallah, so many tests. Imagine If you had 7 tests coming in front of you, how would I feel? I would not be sleeping. I'm like, man, I need to pass this. Imagine if that test was about life and death. Imagine if that was such a important test. Today, a test of school and college stresses us. The interview stresses us. This is a lifetime test. There's no going back. There's no another chance. There's no do it again. It won't happen. How much stress should I be? So how about instead of me constantly, socializing with people, not that it's wrong, we can restrict it. How about I take out time where I connect myself with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So this month of Ramadan automatically gave this training, and these are the mujahadas. So ulama, they tell us eat and sleep is something we can't do so much because our bodies have become weak, but talking less and socializing, we should definitely, and we can definitely control it. So what can we do after month of Ramadan now? That's the last thing, inshallah, and we'll stop after this. Let's take the month of Ramadan routine and let's try to implement this, inshallah. Let's make this ni'ah. First of all, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna nafsa lamaratun birsu illa ma rahima rabbi. Only Allah can do it. Nobody else can do it. Allah can save us from nafs. We can talk and give long bayanat, speeches and presentations and sound all fancy. It can all. Nothing's going to happen until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides it. We have to first ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the first thing. Secondly, let's look at the routine. Maybe we don't fast the entire month, but we make this niyyah every month, at least 13th, 14th, and 15th of the lunar, we will fast. So we can continue this mujahada, inshallah, in a form that is acceptable to Sharia and not too difficult. Man jab al-hasana falahu ashram thaliha. We get the reward for 30 days, full month of reward. Less mujahada, more pay. So how about inshallah? And before that, of course, we have the month of Shawwal coming, 6 fast. We started with that. But besides that, let's continue this mujahada of eating less in the form of continuous fasting, at least 3 fasts. We can do 13, 14, 15. What about the mujahada of eating less? We can do that too. We can control our eating habits. We can say, you know what, instead of having unhealthy food, I'm going to start having healthy food, for example, right? And this is also important. We eat healthy, we stay healthy, we're able to do ibadah and worship more. Or we can control it, just like we're able to eat in the morning and night. What we'll do the same thing. We'll eat breakfast, inshallah, good breakfast, a good, inshallah, dinner. Maybe afternoon, we'll have something healthy. In this way, we can take care of our health and we can also continue mujahada. It's just a thought process. I'm not saying you have to do it, but something, if we can do it now, then inshallah, we can do it later too. Then what about speaking less? We can definitely do that. I mean, what's the best way is that we connect ourselves with dhikr, tasbih, right? Azkar, make ma'mulat. Daily, I need to finish this much dhikr. I need to daily finish this much Quran. When I have all of these chores, per se to do, then automatically I will engage myself in Quran and dhikr and dua. Then it will save me from engaging in unnecessary talks, right? So we can do that, inshallah. And last is about socializing. We can say every day from, let's say, 9 o'clock or 9 p.m. till 5 a.m. No electronics. We can do it. So if we do that, then automatically we decrease unnecessary socializing. Automatically, this social media, this phone, all automatically will go away. It will be, of course, it will take some effort, but we must continue, because if we don't, remember, the nafs is still there. Right now, the nafs became weak because of these mujahada. But once we are out of this month of Ramadan, this nafs is going to come back its full force, with full force of the shayateen, and now they're going to come back on us again with full force. So we need to be prepared. And the only way is to remember that the constant mujahada, striving needs to be done against this nafs, or else we'll fall prey to this nafs. We'll fall into this nafs. And remember what we said. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, you follow the nafs, you will be misguided. Remember what happened to shaitan. Well, remember the hadith where ulama, they tell us following nafs would not lead to anything but Jahannam, na'udhu billah min dhalik. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our ibadat, all the worships and all the good that we did. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us and allow us to live the life that pleases Him. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us life on Iman. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us life on death on Iman. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make all the stages of Akhirah easy on us and give us all Jannatul Firdaus without any accountability. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove all the calamities and all the difficulties in this world. We ask Allah to give shifa to all the ones who are sick. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive all the ones who pass with Iman. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect every single person, all the organizations that are doing the work of deen. Ya Allah, you help them. Ya Allah, you support them. Ya Allah, you give your unseen help to them. Ya Allah, and you accept it from them and save them from all sorts of evils. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.